really nice Bosch 12-inch sliding compound miter saw. And I used this for years, and I also have a kick around 10-inch chop saw. That's a DeWalt, which works great, by the way. But this is really nice. Years ago, I had an old Delta Rockwell contractor saw, and that was great for making rip cuts, but doing the furniture work that I did, making all the cabinets in the house and so forth, didn't quite cut it. So I used a combination of table saw and miter saw, and between the two, I could do some good work. But a couple of things happened. One is I ended up getting my cabinet saw, my saw stop 3 horsepower cabinet saw, and that just made everything else almost unnecessary because it is such a nice machine. At the same time, in doing a piece of work with this, I had, I guess what you could call a severe kickback. Something wasn't quite right when I put a piece of hardwood in here. I remember it was maple, and when I went to cut it, it just exploded and flew across the shop. It didn't hit me, which was great. But what it did leave was a fence that was no longer flat going across. So I said, well, I need to adjust it. There were bolts in the back on both sides, and I thought, well, I need to put it back flat. But I found that the bow in this was severe enough that I really couldn't bend it back into place and tighten down the nuts to make it straight. So what I did was I aligned it so this fence was straight, and whenever I made a cut, as long as it didn't touch this side of the fence, it was fine. Because this one was square to the miter. When I had a long board that I needed to cut in half, I would cut it in half, but then again, when I went to cut it to length, I had it come out here and it couldn't go beyond this point. So what I'd like to do is to try and make an attempt to straighten this fence again. And I know that just kind of wrestling it into place and tightening it down isn't going to cut it. So I'm going to try to permanently move it into place so that when it's off the miter saw, it is flat before I bolt it back on. Don't know if this is going to work or not. We'll see. At the time that this happened, I did look up and I found a place that I could buy a whole new fence for $39, which would have been a great solution. But since then, I can't find it anywhere for this model, this particular one. And I don't know if maybe another year, another model might fit, but it doesn't designate it for this model when I looked them up. So, as a last resort, I'll really try to hunt for one. Until then, let's see what we can do with this. So here you can easily see the gap that's over there. Actually, that one is square to the miter. This is the one that's off. So this is the one that's actually lifting this up over here, so that when I go to cut something, if I do it like this, so that I'm not hitting this, it cuts straight. But the minute I bring a board over, I have that gap. And this is actually tightened down as good as it can to get this straight. Well, I had to bite the bullet and put it on the jointer. But now it is about as flat as I'm going to get it, I think. I'm drilling 5/16 holes to match the 1/4 inch holes that are on the fence. I'm going to use this 2x4 as a straight edge to try to bolt it to. The bolts I have won't go quite through the 2x4, so I need to countersink the backside. I've got 4 bolts, but 1 carriage bolt, because I just don't have enough of the regular ones. But I'm putting a washer on each one, so that should suffice and hold it so they won't sink into the wood too much. So I'm lining up these holes with the fence, and these holes were already in the fence, by the way, so I did not drill them myself. I haven't added new holes to the fence. I've tightened down these 4 bolts, and now this is square with this piece of plain 2x4. But when I let go of the pressure, it springs back. I've got to find some way to get this to give a little bit. And these are the options. The worst option is that I put it in the bandsaw, and this is aluminum, and I make a small slit right here, hoping that it opens up a little. Another option is to apply heat to this, hoping that the metal softens a little bit. It is aluminum, and then it gives, and these bolts hold it, and as it cools, it sets in that position. And that's the one I'm going to try first. Okay, this thing is sizzling water hot. I can feel it from here. So I'm going to give it plenty of time to cool down, loosen the bolts, and see if it held the set or not. Fingers crossed. Well, it's been quite a while, so I'm going to take this apart. Fingers crossed. If it doesn't work, well, you know, there's always try again. And I know you probably can't see it over there, but we did make an improvement, but not quite enough. Not quite enough. So, I don't think I can do any harm by making a small cut. The heat helped. It did move, but not enough. So what I'm going to do is make a cut here, but I'm not going to make it in the middle, because in the center there's a ridge. I'm going to make it off to the side. In fact, I might even make 2 of them. I'm not sure. And I really don't know if it's going to help or not, but it's my next resort. So, 2 slits, and I widened them a little bit, and maybe that will let it pull in, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to go up further. This is straight with a straight edge, but I'm going to tighten this down and see what happens when we release the pressure. It's still a tiny bit off. Well, here is the jury-rigged mechanism I got to spread these out a little bit and bring them into alignment. My straight edge is good all the way across. A tiny bit of a gap here on the very end, but it's so slight. I'm not going to worry about it at this point. This is pretty tight. Everything is pretty tight. Let me let go of the clamps. It sprung back a tiny bit, but it's back to about 95% of what it was. And let me undo this one. This one isn't tight now anyway. Oh, yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, in all of that manipulation, I have to see if I'm still square here. Oh my God, it is. It's like luck that it's still square. I'll check with a cut. Let's see the side. Oh my God, it's square too. Holy crap. Okay, let me get this plugged in and we'll cut a board and see if it's square. Okay, I know that this isn't the best way to check, but I'm initially trying, oh, it's perfect that way and perfect that way from what I can see. Let me try a 45. Let's see if that comes out the same. It looks great. So I think a slight adjustment of the 0 point under here is all that I need. Well, at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with what I've got. If I come across another fence, particularly if that $39 price, it's probably more like $69 now, but either way, I think I'll pick it up. And I have a rigid portable cart that I have the DeWalt on now. And I'm going to buy another set of rails so I can easily just slip this on with a couple of toggles and hook it onto that and switch them back and forth. I use the DeWalt because I can beat on it, and I've had it for a long time. And it's a great transportable saw. I bring it, to do different things at different people's houses. And it just makes a really nice saw, very easy to move and very easy to deliver. So, here it is. Going back into service. I'm sure there are other ways of doing this. I know some people have just cut through the rail completely and then just bolted each one on individually without having to put any pressure on it to try to straighten it out. And I think that's a good idea. If this should give me any more trouble, I don't think it'll move, but if it does, that is what I'll do. And I'll keep an eye out for another rail. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you have a mind to. And until next time.